Hello, family. Hello, hello, hello. I'm gonna wait on some of y'all to get up in this room, okay? I did do the notification today, family. So I made sure I put on the notification today, family. I had enough time to go in there and make me something to eat, get myself together, and come in here and start the live, right? So normally I'm rushing, but today I had enough time to notify the family, notify y'all over here on Patreon, everybody, right? So God is good, right? So family, today we talking insecurities. So it's gonna get, hey family, hey Miss T. So today we talking insecurities, right? So everybody got insecurities, family. We're gonna deep dive on these insecurities because the first of all, it was a lady that I was watching on YouTube that I normally watch. She does like the food eating mukbangs. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I watch those. I don't know. It's like a guilty pleasure. I think because I'm a foodie and I know I can't eat like them people, right? So I was watching her and she went into like crying mode. She was doing shadow work on the mukbang. And y'all know me, I was like crying with her because I was like, yes, that is so true. And because I could pick up on her emotions, it was really hurting her, whatever she was going through in reference of these insecurities. And so it tingled my psyche. And I said, you know what? We got to deep dive on this because it is a lot of things she brought up in that video that was so true. And we got to work on these things, family. So, when I'm going to talk first about life experiences in reference of us having these insecurities. What are we insecure about and why are we insecure about it, right? And that's a deep dive, okay? So that's us actually having to look at our shadow self and go within and actually ask ourselves our deep, deep, deep thoughts and deep traumatic things that we may deal with in ourselves that's making us insecure. Those insecurities, family, can really, really tarnish your life experience, right? And how you perceive things as well. So first thing, I'm going to start out by talking about or bring the definition of what are your insecurities or what are insecurities, right? So, I like to always give us a specific definition, right? And then we feed off of that definition based off of our life experiences because there's no better teacher than our life experiences, okay? So insecurities is a general lack of confidence, okay? We all have a lack in confidence in some shape, form, or fashion in our lives, right? Or a long-lasting feeling of anxiety, discomfort with uncertainty, or unsureness. Insecurities make you question your abilities and your personal values, often negatively impacting your self-esteem and your self-worth, okay? So, yes, it is. That's right. It's the best teacher. Ashe. Hey, sis. Okay, I'm glad you made it. And so, family, like Miss T said, it is the best. Your best experience is your best teacher is your experience, which we all know and we all can to attest to having insecurities, right? So, how do you recognize that you have insecurities? What are the signs? Some of us may want to know that. Some of us probably, we may be looking at it like, well, some people are just in denial, family. You know what I'm saying? That they're not, their self-esteem is maybe having even in their ego in some cases, right? Some people it's in reference of not knowing their self-worth, not wanting to do self-care. You know what I mean? And so those things will create insecurities, right? Jealousy, envy, and hate. And that can create different things, even bring demise of someone, death. Okay, so we're gonna get into it, family. Okay, today is gonna be a more discussion. Hey, Melissa. Glad you made it, sis. Glad you made it. So today's shadow work sessions, we're going to talk about, and I'm going to highlight some of these things. You guys know when I talk about topics on shadow work sessions, I break it down based off of this first, the definition, which I just gave you. Now we're going to talk about some signs and symptoms in reference of your insecurities, okay? And this is a thinking point. This is something for you to pay attention, to utilize it to assist you in reference of your highest good. Because over here, we want to do things to make a better version of ourselves. And what better way than really, really sitting with ourselves and really tapping in reference of our insecurities. Family, it's okay. We all have insecurities, okay? Hey, AJ. Okay, I'm glad you made it, sis. So the first signs and symptoms I want to talk about is an overriding feeling of inadequacy. What does that mean? You feeling like you're not enough, okay? You feeling like you're not enough. In some shape, form, or fashion, some of us have felt this way either in a relationship, either in your skills at a job. Feeling inadequate is about us not knowing our self-worth, right? Not feeling like you're enough, okay? When you start feeling that, then you know that you have some insecurities within yourself. And there is a major, major, major hole, okay, in your soul that it's time for you to mend, okay? So another part of that is another sign or symptom. We're just going to run through some of these so you'll acknowledge these. See, because the first thing is acceptance. To say, yes, I resonate with that symptom, or I resonate with that, and I understand that I do signify with that sign, right? Maybe you didn't even think about it. Another one is a lack of confidence, a lack of self-esteem and self-worth. Maybe you feel, I'm not good enough to do this. Or maybe just like with me. And I always tell you guys, I'm an open book. That's why I definitely tell us to utilize our life experience with me. Sometimes I question myself, even in reference to my gift. And then the ancestors have to check me and be like, no, you need to stand in your gift. You know what I'm saying? Don't, have confidence when you do your thing, your readings and so forth. Sometimes I have self-esteem issues in reference of my, body, right? Because I have struggled with weight issues, and sometimes that messes with the psyche. Not sometimes, all the time, right? And so we have to recognize these things and be able to look ourselves in the mirror and be able to speak to these things and be able to know that, no, we are enough. This is something that is put on you based off of your external, when in actuality, all that matters is internal, okay? So anxious about their relationships with others. Definitely can attest to that. Being anxious about relationships and how other people are going to perceive you, or how other people will recognize you, or if they really care. You know what I'm saying? Some of us deal with those type of things. Those are insecurities based off of child trauma, maybe relationship issues, right? Things that maybe, even parents have done to you, or friends, because your insecurities can come from anything, family, even your children. Okay? Another one, an overly high sense of self that is used to conceal your true feelings, okay? Some of us hide our true feelings, okay? Why? Because we're insecure to show our true self, you see? A lot of us have this where we feel like we can't put our guard down, right? And in that case, those are things surrounded around trust issues. And why do we have trust issues? That comes from some type of insecurity that is within a relationship issue. And when I say that, I don't just mean in reference of being with a lover, but it could also be in reference of just family issues. Trust issues go all which ways, family, okay? But that can also create insecurities within you where you're starting to treat everyone like you have to have a trust issue with that person because of something you have experienced with someone completely different, you know? So sometimes we have to check ourselves, right? And so this is what this shadow work session is going to trigger some of you. And I'm not trying to trigger you, and I'm not trying to create anything in reference of being hostile. This is to give you awareness, because when you're aware, you're prepared, right? And then you can actually be a better version of you to the outside of you, right? Because you are a reflection of who you bring into your energy. You are a reflection of that, okay? So this will also help us to make better decisions in life when we're able to recognize our insecurities. A strong desire to be alone and avoid social situations. Now, this actually is a big thing in reference of insecurities, right? Is the insecurities or is the isolation, right? Because it says the strong desire to be alone and avoid social situations. I can attest to that because I look at that as me being more on my in my spiritual space, and things that I don't want. It's like a protection of my energy, but is it an insecurity? You know? So there's a fine line that we have to really think about, right? And some of this I want you guys to come back, listen to, and journal about. You know, how do you feel about that? And you can express it in the chat too. You know, you guys know this is a private, sacred space that we do our shadow work sessions in, right? But yes, and some of us have that energy of I want to be alone because you're scared of dealing with social being social because of something that traumatic that has happened in a social setting, not just in reference of your spirituality. Let's take that away, right? But I know me, it's like I don't like to do big events anymore because it's traumatic, because I've been through things where there's been like a chaotic situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's put an insecurity in me in reference of not trusting other things that can happen. When in actuality, we sometimes have to step out on faith, right? And so that is another part of being insecure, right? Not having faith. Poor communication patterns that focus on other people's needs or other person's need. Poor communication patterns definitely can play a part, family. I would say your insecurities could go back to not being able to, where they say code switching, right? That's what they call it in the modern day, code switching, where you feel like you're inadequate to talk in certain environments, right? Maybe even work settings, okay? Like I can say, for instance, I have an insecurity in, I have insecurities around speaking out loud in public because of my country dialect or something like that. Or maybe they feel like my slang is going to make me sound ignorant or something. That can be an insecurity, when in actuality, just because the way you talk and the way you may say it doesn't mean that you're ignorant. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you don't know or you haven't mastered that situation, right? It may be that you just can't communicate it. But you are worthy of knowing that, this is the insecurity and this is something you need to work on. Maybe you need to take a communication class. Maybe it's something you need to do in front of the mirror that helps you to be able to speak in front of yourself as well as others. That's also a visual thing, right? So, yeah, this is where I struggle. Yeah, right? I'm practicing to recognize and acknowledge my true feelings and stop putting other feelings ahead of mine. Yes. And that is the insecurity, but at least the best thing you've done is recognize, see, and practicing to change, because that's the thing. We're going to go through life, family, and it's no better teacher than life, right? So now that you've recognized it and you're practicing moving in a new direction towards shifting that's when things will be better in reference of your future, You won't have to worry about, putting people before you. That's a part of your self-care. And that's going to make you have a better living situation as well, living condition, home life, whatever, however you want to spin it, right? So I applaud you, sis, for bringing that up and actually acknowledging that you recognize that and that you do struggle, because we all do. We're not perfect. We all have to embrace our shadows, right? And insecurities is a part of it, especially with different things, family. And we're talking about high levels of anxiety and stress will bring on these different things. With me, it's a weight thing, right? Lately, it's been definitely a weight thing, because I know I've been gaining more weight, so my anxiety is getting more and more and more. But I know with me working, sitting, right, working from home, being more comfortable, right, not being as active, right, all of that, right? And I need to do better in reference of my spirituality. I need to do better in reference of my health, right? All of these things. But then it's like, you have those insecurities that'll come up. And hey, Chrissy, oh, okay. And you have those insecurities that come up, and then you think, what can I do in reference of helping myself to cope with these things, or to be able to manage when you recognize that this is an insecurity that I have, whether it's in a relationship, whether, you feel insecure that, maybe you feel like this person is going to cheat on me because you've been in relationships, that have been, been with cheaters all your life. But that's also an insecurity that you may have. But on the other part of that, that's a reflection of the choices you made to bring that person, or to repeat that cycle with the type of people you've chosen. And that goes back to a traumatic situation. See, with insecurities, there lies a root cause. Okay? Because to every problem, even in mathematics, there's a root cause. Okay? So, same with insecurities. Okay? So when we recognize, just like how Miss Melissa was saying, she recognized that she had an insecurity, right? With helping other people, putting other people before herself. She needs to go back and look at the root cause of that, because there's something there. Most likely it's because maybe she's brought up that way. Maybe she had to take care of her family all her life and didn't have the chance to really focus on herself. Maybe she was the single mother and all she could focus on was her children and not herself, but that came from a traumatic situation that caused that with her. So now it's a part of relearning and changing that mindset that, no, it's time to focus on me, even though that may have been a life experience, right? And that may have been a walk that you had to go through, but it's okay. You can always change you. You can't change anything else, but you can change you. So that's where the shadow lies, you see? That's why shadow work sessions in reference of insecurities is a push to start that change. Even if you haven't, this is the time, right? So, how do we recognize it, right? How do we recognize it? Well, it's plenty different things out here in reference of ways and how to recognize it and things. And, you may look at things in reference of you have insecurities because of being cheated on. You have insecurities because of, fluctuation in your weight, right? Maybe you have insecurities of trust because you never were able to trust anyone in your bringing up, where you was raised. It's multiple different things in reference of insecurities. Maybe you have an insecurity on your look, right? So maybe you wear a lot of makeup, or you might wear a lot of different weaves and things like that, right? Maybe it's, you wear baggy clothes because you don't like your shape or something. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe you have relationship issues with everyone you come into encounter with because you haven't worked on self. See? And there's a lot of people who have insecurities and have jealousy because they haven't worked on self. have envy and hate with people who they don't even know because they haven't worked on self. That's an insecurity, you see? And it's projected, right? It's projected out to others. So I posted on Patreon today, family. On my Patreon, I posted giving you guys some aspects of different things to pay attention to, look at. You know, how secure are you? I put up there. You know, I said it says we miss the big picture when we haven't worked on our insecurities. Acting from insecurities lead to failure of a mindset, the lack of confidence, relationship issues, being impatient and demanding, and having anxiety. See, all these things can lead to insecurities that can cause some type of havoc and trauma in your life. You see? Yeah. See, you recognize it was definitely childhood trauma for me. But I know and recognize it now and no turning back. That's the way to look at it, sis. That's gonna be the change in your life. That's gonna make your life better. You see? Yes. That I love that, Melissa. I was talking about this at work today. Yes, right? So it's becoming more and more and more because family, they putting the socials in front of everybody. Our children are brainwashed about fantasy, illusions, right? And so it creates insecurities. They think they're supposed to have this. They think they're supposed to look like this. They think they're supposed to be like this. They think that people are supposed to speak like this. These are all perceptions that have created a mental instability. And that mental instability has created insecurities. You see? It's a pandemic of it. That's what the pandemic should be about. Not about a damn made up. Anywho, you get what I'm saying. That is a major situation, especially with the young generation. It is horrible, family. It is just horrible. They're living in a pure illusion, made up fantasy world. You see? Many insecurities to make them want to take their lives. You see? Because they feel they're inadequate. They feel that they lack self-esteem. They lack confidence. They feel like they lack money. You see? And so this has become a major situation. Insecurities are taught. See? You're not born insecure. Insecurities is taught. This is in this human experience of how we have insecurities. You see? And so you didn't come out the womb insecure, you learned it. Those insecurities in your mind don't belong to you. Time to release the insecurities that don't make you feel good about yourself. You deserve better. That's one of the things I put up. I also put up confidence is silent and insecurities are loud. Most of the time, the people who are flashy, right? Most of the time, the people who argue and boast and arrogant and they have a lot of insecurities. They have a lot of insecurities. Deep down shadow work that is needed. Traumatic things that have happened in their life and they haven't dealt with it, family. You know? And I can say one of my insecurities used to be my hair as well. And I talked about my weight, but my hair as well. I always wore wigs and weaves and all these things, but it's because I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, in my own hair for forever until I said, you know what, God, I am enough. And I'm going to let it go. It's nothing but hair. I don't care who judged me. I don't care what they think, right? It's still a struggle with that. It's still a struggle with weight. It's not to say that it's going to turn off, family. It's about you working on it. I'm getting better and better and better and better, you know? And so this is a push for you to recognize that if you're going through these things, it's okay. I know it's going to trigger some of you guys, but this is the real deal Holyfield, all right? And we're going to talk about it here, family, because we got to work on our shadow, the darkness within while we feel certain ways, family. We got to nurse that. nurse that wound. We got to take the Band-Aid off, family, and allow it to heal. You see? Some of us, is, you know, generations of people also that are just crying out, family. Just crying out because no one feels that they are adequate enough. You see? Especially if you don't have a dollar, you know? When in actuality, that's just another energy, another piece of paper, right? We all needed to live because they put us in this situation, but it doesn't make you. You see? It doesn't make you. Let's see what y'all talking about. That's why they choose to self-medicate. Right. Now that is facts right there. That's why they choose to self-medicate, because they can't deal with the mental instability of things, of knowing that I can't have this, so I'm inadequate. I can't have the thousands of dollars that I see that all these rapper guys and the women and stuff have on the internet. They driving this car and I'm inadequate because I don't have that. Or she may have beautiful hair and I don't, so I don't. Listen, we are one of one. You're not going to have what someone else has because that may not be what's meant for you. You see? But it's about us recognizing those things, because in some cases, it will make you insecure. Hence, resonates with me as well. But I recognize it and I work on it, right? Let's see what you say. Same insecurity about my hair thinning out. Same here, sis. Feel you. See what I'm saying? Yes. We recognizing it though, right? And if we want to do something different, do it. But don't feel that you are inadequate because of that. Because guess what? The positive, so we're going to switch these things, these insecurities, family, in your mind. When we know and we recognize these things, we're going to change it to the positive and say, you know what? We got age. You know what I'm saying? And things are going to change. We're going to have thinning hair. We're going to have vision problems. We're going to have all these things that come about, right? Some of them we've created. Right? By some of us not even knowing them, right? But that's okay. It's time for us to mend. That mending is mean put it back together and make it a whole, mind, body, and soul. You see? And so when we recognize these things, family, then we can start to work on them. You know, even as a collective, as we're doing tonight, talking about it, this, you know, recognizing me. I'm confessing and letting you guys know all mine. I don't care, because I know I'm working on me, and I definitely am working on my solar plexus in reference of the self-esteem, but it takes time too. It doesn't come overnight, you see? So we have to keep working on them, sis. It really helps to get a place where we can just don't care what others think. Yes, it does help. And it takes time, because for 40 years, we've been worrying about what other people think. You think in a year you're going to not? That's not reality. You still will, family. But you have to work on it daily. You know, with practice makes perfect. Just like any other thing, you have to oil the engine, right? So take your time and give yourself grace. That was the message today with the ancestors. The ancestors say, give yourself grace, right? Because we don't, one thing about us, family, we have so many insecurities, and you know what we do? We fault us. We come down on ourselves so hard. We give ourselves our own trauma sometimes, you know, with the insecurities, because we say, well, God, I know I haven't done the right thing. And sometimes that'll just worry me to death myself, you know? But sometimes you have to say, you know what, Keisha, give yourself grace, because guess what? You are helping yourself and others do something right, you know? And you working on you. You tapping in with your shadow. You sitting with thyself, and you understand that I'm not perfect. Never meant to be perfect. But I know what I have to do to fix the things in my life that may be out of whack, right? And get back on the horse and keep on going. And some of us have to just have a little push on that. There's nothing wrong with that, but never feel that you aren't worthy. You see? I remember disliking my body because I was always told I was skinny and bony. Yeah, baggy clothes. Yes. See? But see, now, you recognize that. And now it's okay because you have to understand and see some of that still could bother you, even in your older age. And that's what it is with me. Like, same with me. I was the opposite. So getting up to a certain weight makes me anxious. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go back to where I was. So I feel you in that. But that's an insecurity. And we have to focus on doing things consistently so things won't go back the way they were. So some of it is our doing, but a lot of it is about this, your mental, right? Yes, sis. Thank you for sharing. I think the older we get, the less we care what other people think of us. Absolutely. Now that is definitely the answer, okay? Because in my 40s, honey, I can care less. You know what I'm saying? But some things still do get to us. We are human beings with the heart, okay? We go through this human experience. Hey, Ebony. We go through this human experience. So you're gonna feel it, right? But family, the older we get, the wiser we get in reference of how to deal with the things that we've seen on this long journey of what we call life, and then the game of life and how to play, right? And so with that, the ancestors definitely can tell you and speak to you a little bit more probably advanced, right? Than what you probably wasn't. I know I wasn't even thinking about no spirituality when I was in my 20s and my teens and so forth. So therefore, I was living life, but I still had insecurities, and they were heightened. Now, they probably wasn't as much because we didn't have all the technology back when I was coming up. We did have phones, but it wasn't, we had pagers, but it wasn't like cell phones and stuff. If you had a cell phone back then, you was rich. You know what I'm saying? Rich. Right? And you had a bag phone, okay? Tell my age. But, and then it got to where we are. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like, the more that these kids have, the more they're dependent on it. Like today, my son was saying that their system went down and he had to write all those contracts in by hand. And honey, he felt like it was the worst day in his life. I said, well, go and ask his manager. I said, go and ask him. I'm sure he was. He'd been there 30 years. I said, he's been there when they didn't have computers. He said, yeah. Old head was laughing at me. I said, exactly. You see? That's your insecurity because you have become dependent, you see? And so I had to talk him down and, go through those measures of, we got to go back to the basics, baby, So some of us need to go back to the basics, you see, to come out of those insecurities and think about when you didn't have those things, and understand and give yourself grace. That was the message from the ancestors today, and the ancestor message on the channel. Give yourself grace, right? I used to be ashamed of my shape because people would call me ghetto booty. Now they having surgery to get some. Oh, exactly. Ashe. Yes, I went through that too with the big old butt. Okay, and look, and got picked on with the song that because they have y'all know my name is Keisha. I got the ghettoest name of them all, okay? And so your girl used to get picked on, okay? And when you said that, it made me think about everybody used to say, yeah, Keisha got a big old butt. Oh, yeah, remember that used to be the song by EU. Big old butt, oh, don't take me back, okay? I remember the days, okay? So, yeah, I feel you, sis, right? And having those insecurities brought a lot of those things on too. You know what I'm saying? And insecurities go both ways, family, where you feel like you have to keep up with certain stuff too, right? So that's all about esteem, right? Confidence and stuff, right? But think about those things. Now people paying for these bodies, right? And we were born with them, right? So but now people look at it as if they don't have it, that's an insecurity, right? And now we look at our bodies as insecurities because they got it perfect, You know what I'm saying? And now the regular body is something that's, you know, looked down on. So we have the double insecurity. You see? That's why we got to change this. Because this is what starts it. Your thoughts, your mind, right? Let's see what you're talking about. That is the truth. I don't care that much anymore. And my husband loves me just how I am and don't need impress. Exactly, Christy. Ashe. Okay. Hello. I'm currently struggling with facial nerve disorder. See, okay, that controls or contracts my face via spasms. It's so difficult, but I'm trying to see. But you know what? And that's another insecurity. Health issues, right? We all have health issues. That's uncontrollable. You understand? And you have to be confident in yourself and be able to sit with thyself and understand that that's okay. You are going through a health issue. And those that don't understand and have something to say about that or feel some type of way, that's them. That's their insecurities. But you're beautiful regardless. And you are worthy, you know? And you have to think about the positive, right? Some people have spasms and so forth in other forms where they can't even, you know, maybe walk or talk or certain things like that. Pray through that situation as well. Meditate with the ancestors, okay? But health issues is another insecurity, you know? Like my mom, she's an amputee. You know, that's a health situation that she had. And they had to take a leg. And I know after 50 years and not having your leg at this point in time, it really bothers her. But that's an insecurity because you're still living, breathing, and you're still God's child, and the ancestors are still going to walk with you and make sure you okay. You see? So God got you. Never feel like because of any health ailments, family, that you are inadequate. Because you're not. That goes back to this. You know why? Because your outer makes it seem that way. See? So that's when you have to realize and put yourself in a specific environment. Protect your energy away from people who would even make you feel any type of way. See? That's about you protecting your energy. Okay? Let's see what else y'all talking about. I think we are harder on ourselves than others. That is it. We are. Many things others don't even see. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. That's why I said give yourself grace. Because I can be asking and talking to my son about how I look, and he's like, I didn't even see it. Or I can ask one of my girlfriends, and they be like, I didn't even notice it. But I am pure worried about it. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's about us and our mental, you know, and what we're able to see versus outer, right? But that's something we have to work with within. That's a problem, you see? Yes, body shame, skinny is real. I went through that too. I used to be called everything but interesting. It was only from my family, funny jokes. See? And it's even worse when it comes from family. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that brings on deep insecurities, family. You see all these, you see how you guys all are sharing, and I really appreciate you guys sharing this. Yes, Chrissy, my family, and I was the smallest, and they always talked about the skinny, and yeah, I'm 11. See what I'm saying, how they did you? I really dislike social media at times. Yes, social media is the worst. It caused a lot of mess and confusion. It did. Yes, family is the biggest haters. Yes. They will be your worst enemy sometimes, you know? Yeah, could definitely be the biggest haters. Yes. Mm-hmm. Especially when it comes to insecurities. But you know why? Because they have insecurities. Because they most of the time is, and I'm going to tell you what's the worst. The generation that my mom and them was in, like the 60s and the 70s, they hid so much and they got so many insecurities and they got so much shadow work built up that they never did, that they are just traumatized of everything. And so they project that stuff. I put another one of those up on the Patreon about projection. Those are people who project their insecurities on you. And then they make you insecure. You see what I'm saying? You see how y'all was just talking about how the family was doing this and how you were being picked on by your own family? Yeah, you might have not even had that insecurity if they didn't project that on you. You see? But that's a part of what I was telling you about. Insecurities are a learned, taught thing, behavior. You see? You didn't have insecurities. We didn't have insecurities when we was children running around. We didn't even know we thought we was normal. Right? It's funny now, but child, I used to dress so old-fashioned, see? And it was all because of insecurities. Yes, definitely. When I talk about it now, no one remembers those jokes. See what I'm saying? No one remembers. But you remember because that put a stain. And they just don't even realize that insecurity is now built into your mind. And see, that's the shadow family. So let me get into this. The deep insecurities can look like envy, okay? Can be unable to celebrate others' success. Listen, putting others down, unable to voice different opinions, humble bragging, just bragging, name dropping, obsession with outward appearance, defensiveness, making conversations about yourself, intimidating others, being inauthentic, constant need of reassurance, trusting others' opinions above your own, people pleasing, over apologizing, constant self-doubt, and continuous comparison. These are deep insecurities. And I know I have a lot of those. Okay? Someone used to call me Keisha in the military because of that. So serious. Don't even talk about it, okay? But yes, honey, some of these are deep insecurities. And I could definitely say, as I always be honest with y'all, some of these I have as well. And I'm still a work in progress. All of us are, right? Yes. Yeah, they have memory loss. Honey, I have roles everywhere. And my thing is, if they don't like it, don't look. Ashe, Miss T. Ashe. That's self-confidence right there, baby. Okay? And that's what you're supposed to have. Self-confidence. Work. Okay? Yes, me too, Miss T. Okay? That's exactly how I feel now, Miss T. You see me coming, so if you don't like it, keep it moving. Ashe. That's right, sis. I love that. I'm learning to love myself, my mom's body. And they say after the second baby, the weight is hard to lose. It is. That's what they say. Yes, they do say that. And you know what? Even after the first one, okay, because I only had one, okay, and gained a lot of weight, okay? But I wound up working on myself. And you know what? It doesn't matter because now in my 40s, I really don't even care for real. I'm about like the spiritual family said, I really don't care, but for health reasons, that's why I care about my weight now. It's for health reasons, right? Because I know I'm getting up in some age, right? So that's the main concern. But embrace your body. Embrace your body. Because guess what? Nowadays, family, they want to see the normal body now. Now they want the normal body because they're tired of the plastic. You see? Nah, I was always the savage amongst the group. I would come for you if you come for me and my loved ones. Miss T, you funny. Well, that's good because some of us wasn't like that, okay? Yes, I lost so much weight from my illness. I was skinny in bones. I hated it, but my mom was like, don't worry about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. As long as I'm doing well, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Yes. You saying something about my daughter is mini-me. She's so thin. I always make sure she's okay. Good. See? And see how you breaking that curse. See, that's what it's about. That's why I'm bringing up these insecurities so you guys can pay attention to not only yourself, but your children. Because your children are going through it as well. We went through it. You think that now? Because children are mean. Children are mean. Okay? Some of them are mean without even realizing it. And that's a stain. That's a stain and a wound, family. Okay? That's right. Stay on top of her. Honey, I don't bother no one, and I don't want no one bothering me. And people give others insecurities. That's right, by putting them down. That's right. That's right, Miss T. And that's the thing. And it's so bad because some of us dealt with it from our own family, not even outside. So you got it infiltrated in your own home, right? So this is why I'm saying some of us have to work on these things. Because some of us don't have the confidence to go up against someone who's sleeping in the same house, sleeping in the same bed. Some of you projecting those insecurities on you. Projection looks like you criticize or you hate someone for their appearance when it is you who deeply insecure about that specific flaw. You see? You believe someone hates you when you're the one who has a strong dislike for that person. This is definitely social media. People think that you don't like them and you don't even know them. That's the craziest thing. I still can't grasp that situation because I've dealt with that and I'm still dealing with that. People think I don't like them. People hate on me just because of me. I can't even fathom it. I didn't come from that. You see? So therefore, it baffles me on that one. But that's projection of their insecurities because they dislike themselves. So they see something in me that makes them envious. And that is a deadly sin. That's a deadly sin, family. It's going to crush them. It's going to take them down because the shadow will suck you up into that darkness and you won't be able to see any light in your life. And you'll wonder why you're going through so many things. That's why I ask the Most High and the ancestors to never make me like that, where I'm envious of anyone else and project that on someone else. Please, family, if that is you, please change that. Whew. You express other people make you uncomfortable when it is you who feels self-conscious around others. You tell someone else they cannot achieve a goal because you feel incompetent in achieving it. These are all projections. You blame your partner for having an affair when you feel attracted to someone else or you've cheated. You overreact to something you are insecure or shameful about. Okay? So many of us have these things that we have projected out to others because of something that is dark and that is in us, that is shadow within us that we haven't worked on. That's an insecurity that you project onto someone, you see? Because projection is also a part of that insecurity. A lot of us do that. A lot of us deal with that, okay? So these are things that you have to be mindful of when people are doing you like that and when you're doing other people like that. So you can understand and check yourself or either understand how they're projecting that insecurity on you. And you can say, wait a minute, no, this ain't me. This your insecurity. So I'm going to keep pressing on because I know that's not me. You're trying to put that on me. That's not for me. See, that's how you have to switch that negative to positive real quick, family. That's here. Because guess what? That's an affirmation. I am worthy. That's not me. I am worthy. I'm putting no hate. I'm not projecting anything out to anyone. Everything I project out is up to serve your highest good. That's what I want to continue to project out. Just as in all the work that I do, I want to project high vibrating energy to the collective. I want to project love. You see, you speak these things and that'll change your perception. It'll change the energy and your mood and your vibe, family. You see? Because everything is energy. You see? Even what you speak. Okay? So let's see what else y'all talking about in the chat. Okay, child, when you think they call you big, y'all still talking about the little bullies turning big bullies. You better say it, Miss Melissa. You better say it. Now that is the realest thing you ever wrote, okay? I mean, that was a verse from a rap song. But you know what I'm saying. Big little bullies turn to big bullies. All right. And the birds just went past my window. And so say yes. Okay. And I want to, and you know what? I want to reiterate that because those that were bullies back then, they're being bullied now, probably. You see? See how the tables will turn on you? That's why ancestors say you reap what you sow, even in your past. Right? Yes, Melissa, I'm glad you said that. Thank you, love. That's right, Tangerines. Love all on your daughter and let her know. Yes, sis. Make sure y'all love on y'all children. That's crazy. A girl at work said I must not like her. I'm like, I don't even know you like that. Honey, I get it all the time. And I'm going to tell you what else is also a projection that in reference of things like that. When you're confident, people don't like confident people, family. My son talks about that all the time. He's very confident. He's double Leo, triple Leo, or something like that. Double, I think it's double Leo. Honey, he confident, honey. Okay? He said my people hate me because of that. They don't even know me. I said, baby, it's because you're confident. You hold your head high. And those people who aren't confident and can't be confident within themselves have those insecurities they project on you, and they'll look at you and don't like you. Now you say to yourself, family, that's their insecurities. That's not mine. That's not for me. That's what you say in the ethos to yourself. That's not for me. I won't receive that. That's you. You need to work on you. You need to tap in and embrace your shadow. Okay? Now you know. Before I would pop off. Okay? That was just me. Okay? Family, I've come a long way. Okay? I was the popper offerer. I was. Yes. Okay? I've come a long way, family. I've changed. My whole life is a 360. That's because I know now and I've recognized who I am. When people say to me, you think this or you think that about you, say, no, you think that. Boom. Bing, bow. That's right. Say, no, you think that. I say, that's your insecurities. That's what I'm talking about, sis. Yes, y'all there. Y'all there, sis. Y'all there. They see the light in you. Yes. If people see any form of light and they in the dark, honey, they're going to attract to that light because it's the negative and the positive, family. It always goes together like a cable on a car. You understand? They're going to bring it to you. So you need to be ready. Whenever you tap it into the more light, truth, highly conscious, right? In your higher self, that's when that darkness is going to try to attract to that light, family, and they're going to come at you all which ways. They're going to project those insecurities. Some of them are going to bash you. Some of them are going to even try to fight you aggressively, right? But that's that darkness that wants some of your light. I love that, sis. I love that. That resonated strong with me. And they don't like those who can stand on their own either. You better say it in a crowd. Independence creates insecurities for some, especially when they've been dependent. You see? Independence, right? And so we have to pay attention to that. I want to read to you what I posted. It says, life is too short to be confident in the skin you are in. Step into a room knowing you light it up. Allow your energy to speak for you, family. Celebrate yourself and others. Start to work within and embrace your unique, beautiful self. Trust in life and your abilities. No matter what happens, believe you are worthy and enough, okay? Because the uncomfortable truth, family, is feeling of adequacy or low self-confidence can lead people to oppose people who possess the qualities they admire. Sometimes people dislike you because of what you represent. You see, some people aren't gonna like you and project insecurities because of what you represent. And guess what you represent? Strength, courage, success, confidence, achieving things, right? They can see that light and something they could not. and may not be able to because they haven't changed their mindset, because they're stuck, right? And so when people dislike you based on things that have nothing to do with you, you are likely to change you're unlikely to change their opinion about you. You know why? You can't change someone else's opinion about you until they change themselves. So if they won't even do the work on themselves, family, what do you think they're going to do? They can't even look at you in a different light because they have no light. You see? So they're going to project those insecurities. But it's about you putting up boundaries, family, and protecting your energy. So that's why I gave you guys 6 ways to manage guilt when setting boundaries, right? And don't be guilty of these things. Maybe you need to work with a therapist. Maybe you need to work with a spiritualist. Write down your boundaries and remind yourself that your needs matter. Write them down. Journal your feelings, family. Work on your mindset to build confidence and ground yourself. You know, having and make sure you set those boundaries. Remind yourself that boundaries mean you care about your relationships and first yourself. Set boundaries, because people are energy vampires. They will suck you dry and they will project their insecurities on you, family. You have to take care of your wellness first before it all. Okay? So soothe your inner child by refraining from people pleasing. I put up a lot of relationship insecurity, so you can go over that, where you feel like you maybe are not enough, maybe in your finances, in your intellect, in your career, in your humor, how successful you are. These are all the things I would like for you guys to tap into. Recognize, be aware of your insecurities, even those that you talked about in the chat from your past that may still raise and bring some type of trigger in your current life. Pay attention to those things. Journal about those things. Take yourself back to that inner child, that small child that was picked on, and now love on that child. Tell that child it's okay. It is okay. Love on that inner child and tell that inner child, listen, I'm here for you. And also be that for your children, because they could be going through the same thing, family. Okay? So I want you guys to be able to recognize all of these things and understand and recognize, how secure are you? How secure are you? So that's why today the shadow work sessions was definitely needed in reference of our insecurities. You see how so many of you guys had some of the same stories, and some that were definitely resonating with many, right? As well as those that watch this video after they come in and watch it, you know. But we can resonate with it, and it's the time that we have to make sure that our mental health and make sure that our heart chakra, family, is in alignment, and that we're not blinded and projected on in reference of these insecurities here in this world, because we have enough to worry about with our day-to-day. We don't have enough. We don't need all these insecurities in our life, family. Okay? So I just wanted to bring this to you guys in shadow work sessions so you can work on your insecurities, because we have them, right? And we're still a work in progress, and that's okay. That is okay. That is life. And life is going to keep on life. You know? Sorry. Wait a minute. Allow me to reintroduce myself just came on. You heard the ancestors pop that on, okay? Ancestors said, allow me to reintroduce myself. That was Jay, okay? And then it went back to I had to hit the thing. Ancestors said, y'all need to be saying that. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Keisha, okay? Come up in the room with your confidence. You understand? And you know what? Look past it. Look past it, because guess what? Only you got to sit with thyself. Okay? So let's see what y'all talking about in the chat before I get out of here. I'm going to look and see what y'all talking about. Let me turn this down a little bit, family. Okay? That was loud. It was like, allow me to reintroduce myself. Perfect timing, too. It was like, it's a dang. Okay, let's see. Yeah, then they try to put it out because highlights their issues. Yes, yes, especially when they are strong through adversity. Yes. You're welcome, love. I love when we are able to do these sessions and we resonate and we work through them together and we talk about the things that we've had happen in our life and the insecurities and people projecting these things on us, family. Because one thing about it, the only way for us to get through an issue, family, is to go within. And sometimes going within to transcend, we need to come together as a collective and love on each other, right? And say, it's okay, sis. Give yourself grace. We love you. You worthy. You are perfect. You are one of one. You are a star, okay? Yeah. Tensionless, no holds barred. Definitely my spiritual sister. Ashe. Sitting at the pool, insecurity to knowing how to swim. Honey, one of my insecurities. Okay, I don't know how to swim, and I was just at the pool the other day too, Chrissy. But guess what? I still got my swimsuit on. I still got in the water, and I still went in the area that I felt that I could go in. Okay, with confidence. Hello. Okay, looking at the people over there in the high level. Okay, swimming like a fish, and I'm standing over there ready to put floaties on, okay? I grew up in a pool in Mexico. My family recently learned I don't know how to swim. Me neither, sis. Yes. Thank you, sis. Y'all laughing. Yes, this was good, right? Yes. Ashe. Christy, why you didn't invite me to the real pool? You know we had the fake sitting pool, right? The blue one that was in the backyard. Like they say, we have way more things in common than differences. Sis. I love that. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. More than you think. That's why it don't pay to be insecure, because the next person is going through something just like you, if not worse. That's how you have to think about things. Okay? Don't judge a book by its cover, because you could be that book. Okay? You're welcome, sis. Thank you for these sessions. Trust me, these talks help a lot, Ashe. I'm glad. I'm glad. And that's what the ancestors push me to do. All I can do is push y'all, and it helps push me too. I love you guys. Through the darkness to the light. You know what time it is. It's our time, family. It's our time to work through these issues, to work with each other, to talk with each other, have this sacred space. I love each and every one of you that come to, go through the shadow work sessions, that support me here. We have our own sacred space here. I try to flood into you guys, and you flood into me, and I love you guys for it. And I'm glad it definitely helps. I love you all. Through the darkness to the light, family. Till the next time. Be still there once. Ashe. Love you too, Melissa. Love you, AJ. Love all of you guys. I will see you guys on the next shadow work session Wednesday at 6:30. Be there or be square. Tomorrow is Thursday night insight. We will be doing Thursday night insight. So y'all be ready for y'all insight, y'all questions. Miss T did Tuesday. I'm doing Thursday. Tune in, all right? I love you guys. I love you too. Love you all. I love you all. I love you all. Ashe. Love you, family. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.